Well, this is Henry Lee. Last week on Instant Experts, the Honk and I shared our cunning plan to take a mystery holiday in the US by flying into LAX and shouting, "Trump is a cunt." Our plan has worked perfectly. We're now imprisoned in secret locations in the US, and we've been offered one phone call. Stupidly, rather than call a lawyer, we've called each other.
Yeah,
Honk,
I
is that you?
I missed you.
Where are you?
I'm in. Well, they're doing a thing that obviously
Are
regarded
you
us.
safe? Is it
Well,
safe?
it's not an easy answer. The Trump administration clearly regards us as security risks, so they've actually sort of placed us with actual members of the Trump government, the Trump White House. So
Well, personal
I'm in,
supervision.
yeah, I'm in Stephen Miller's sex dungeon.
The human penis.
Yeah, the human penis. Look,
He's a pretty angry, aggressive guy during the day. What's he like? What's he like at night?
submissive. He does whatever you tell him. I didn't find him hard to dominate at all. I will say,
Pussycat.
but also, I know what you're thinking. A gentle and considerate lover.
Did he request to see your
How about
papers?
you?
Well, I'm in Pete Hegseth's den, which is exciting.
Yeah.
There's plenty of liquor in the cabinets.
Yeah,
a lot of the bottles are empty. It's true.
Sure.
Sort of half in, half out. There's some big cue cards on the wall saying "Say war fighting." Say war fighting. Pete, say war fighting. War fighting. War fighters. War fighters, and a few angry letters from various ex-wives seeking child support.
Anyone who knocks on the door have you been told not to accept anything anyone tries to deliver?
Well, we communicate quite frequently on Signals, so
good.
It keeps me well informed of what's happening at the house in Iran and the peace deal in Russia.
Fantastic. During our collective detention, it's all we can do, as we promised, to provide a greatest hits episode, the absolute golden great, very best of the first few weeks of the show. And we hope you enjoy it. But we do hope
It's like an autobiography written by a 12-year-old. My life so far. My greatest hits.
We're hoping we have confidence. We're confident people. We're hoping both to be back for a whole new episode next weekend. But obviously, in your case, I assume that depends on Supreme Court agreeing to take your case.
Yeah, and in your case, it depends on whether Stevie is fully satisfied with the service.
Unclear. He's coming now. I better go, though, because he's coming. Stephen, wait a second. I said wait.
Good doggy. Good doggy.
Good doggy.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Welcome back to Instant Experts, all the latest news explained by idiots. Here to keep you sane in a crazy world. I'm Henry Lee, and as always, I'm here with my dear friend, The Honk. Honk, welcome.
Henry, what a pleasure to be here with you yet again for another big week. And what a week. I tell you, for a show that we decided was going to be about crooks, fuckwits and morons, our timing is somewhat uncanny, isn't it?
They're certainly keeping us very, very busy. What was your highlight this week?
Well, where do you go? Where do you start except for Trump's address to the joint sessions of the joint houses of Congress? So Trump declared, start at the start. Trump declared, sorry, a lot of people told Trump. A lot of people told Trump.
A lot of people saying.
He didn't say it. A lot of people told him that his is the most successful presidency in US history.
I mean, if that's the test, we are the most successful podcast ever.
Clearly, that must be true, right?
We've got 6 weeks of chaos behind us.
We do,
and many more to come.
And tell them the tariff.
We've demanded that Spotify and Apple impose a 25% tariff on other podcasts, which they've agreed to do.
Although fuck them, but there is a downside.
What's
obviously.
That?
Well, doesn't that mean that Joe Rogan's shows now go for like 10 days at a time?
And lastly, and most importantly, we've just signed a new sponsor, the Kremlin.
Yes.
So poison someone today.
Yes, as we like to say at the Kremlin, poison someone today.
Actually, this week's insanity bears a striking resemblance to last week's insanity.
Except that this time it's personal.
Well, I'm surprised you brought that up, Honko. Who's going to tell the story?
You can. I'm not even meant to be talking to you. I forgot. I'm not really minded to do any favours either, so you can do it.
Fine, have it your way.
Fine.
All right, here goes. So it all began a couple of months ago when I started buying my lunch from Honk's Side Hustle, which is a sandwich shop.
For the fucking thousandth time, it is a bagel shop. It is called the Kosher Hole.
And I assume it has a lot of outlets in parks and railway stations.
We are diversifying. Stop being so dirty.
Anyway, I buy lunch there every day.
You do, even though you live in Melbourne and the shops in Sydney.
Indeed. Well, anyway, let's not get hung up on the facts, Honk.
Yeah.
The point is I buy there my lunch there every day.
Well, you would if this story was actually true.
That's true. But I spend about $100 a week.
You do, it's
in
true.
my imagination. And
Yep.
all I get in return is the bagels and coffee I order.
Yeah, which in fact you keep ordering and you keep paying for. So what's the problem?
Well, I didn't think that was fair. So I imposed a tariff on your bagels of 10%.
Yeah, then tell them what happened.
Well, then I was paying $110 a week, and still all I got for it were the bagels and coffee I ordered.
Yeah, the same bagels and coffee you were already ordering, and so you escalated.
That's right. I had no choice. I went to 20%.
And so I retaliated. I was like, fuck you. If you're going to, I put it up to 50%.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to cop that. So I went to 100%.
Yeah, so now you're paying $200 a week when you used to pay $100 for the same coffee and bagels. Is that right?
That's right. But it's not about the money, Honk. It's the principle. The trade is unfair because I keep giving you money by choice in exchange for coffee and bagels.
But that's only because you couldn't be fucked making them yourself, and you haven't wanted to make them yourself for years.
Yeah, but I could if I wanted to.
Yes, but you don't. You chose to buy them from me because you're a lazy old goat.
Well, I think you should be put out of business for selling me cheap and delicious coffee and bagels. That's why the tariffs are 100%.
Okay, well, that clearly makes no sense. Basically, you're now paying $200 for things that used to cost you $100 for no reason, but, you do you.
It's the principle, Honko, and I'm going to win this trade war.
You've actually already won it.
What do you mean?
Well, haven't you heard I'm actually closing the shop next week?
Oh.
That's what you wanted, isn't it?
It is. Make Henry's lunches great again.
No, I'm shutting the shop because I'm taking my wife and kids to Hawaii for Easter with the double money I'm now making.
And I'm going to shoot my other foot because the first one hurt so good.
Yeah.
Well, that was a bit of fun, folks, but it illustrates, I think, what's happening in tariffs. All right, and the other big story in romance is the second lady, Usha Vance, visiting Greenland.
This is a weird story.
It's a weird story. It was positioned as a friendly visit. This is the country America's trying to take over.
Yeah.
The Danes and Greenlanders didn't quite see it that way.
But we see it a different way, right?
Yeah, we think it's trouble in paradise.
Yeah. So just take us through, take everyone through your theory on this.
Well, Usha Vance is married to J.D. Vance, right?
Yeah.
So that's a problem already.
Yeah, indeed.
Clearly she hasn't been sexually satisfied in years.
Yeah.
Her main love rivals are Donald J. Trump, hence B.J. Vance, and a couch.
Yeah,
basically.
indeed. Yeah, I mean, as you said to me before you started recording, she had a choice between, being in bed with J.D. Vance or waking up in a frozen wasteland, and she chose the wasteland.
You probably couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
So I reckon she was looking forward to a couple of nights alone in Greenland.
Having her territory invaded, you reckon? Having her territory invaded.
By whom?
By Erik the Viking. Erik the Viking.
It's a strong and...
Yeah. So our theory is that, and this is confirmed by the chat that we're now accessing, the JD found out about the secret plan to have the territory invaded by Erik the Viking. So he invited himself along.
He did, yes. And he sent a tweet about it, which is very, very naff, even by his low standards.
Yeah.
And it said, quote unquote, there was so much excitement around Usha's visit to Greenland this Friday that I decided that I didn't want her to have all that fun by herself, so I'm going to join her.
But is he? What's he into? Is he into Usha or is he into Erik the Viking?
Oh, controversial.
Well, what he said also was he's in the Signal chat. He said the US position is clear. He said Erik the Viking must stand down from this territorial invasion plan, and if he won't, Vance has got no choice but to invade from the rear. It's not clear to me if he's talking about Usha or Erik the Viking. It's a mystery.
Oh dear me.
Anyway, either way, it's going to be romantic. But all this brings us back to the tariffs and, being, as you said.
The other reason we're here, which is we made a boo-boo yesterday, which we didn't. 10% tariffs have been imposed on Australia, and questions came in from listeners all over the world.
Yes.
What about the penguins?
So what they're talking about is a couple of very strange quirks of the tariff announcement by Trump. One was that the Heard and McDonald Islands, which are sort of closer to Antarctica, aren't they, than anywhere else?
They're 2/3 of the way from Madagascar to Antarctica.
Right. So they are
some of the most remote land masses in the world.
And more particularly, they had a 10% tariff imposed on them. Now, a couple of very weird things. Number one, they are uninhabited.
By people.
By people.
Lots of seals and lots of penguins.
Yeah. So what? It's unclear what was actually. Well, the first question is. Well, we'll come back to that other question, but why then was an uninhabited island having a 10% tariffs imposed on it? It turns out, in fact, there is a small amount of what are Patagonian toothfish,
right,
which are caught in those waters and exported to the United States. In fact, those are marketed as Chilean sea bass because they are truly terrifying, horrific-looking fish with huge, sharp teeth. And they're called Chilean sea bass so as not to terrify customers into thinking that what they're about to eat is actually possibly about to eat them first.
Right, so a 10% tariff on Patagonian toothfish.
Yeah. But the weird bit is...
Well, that's good for the fish. I mean, that means they're going to live longer, doesn't it?
I would think, yeah.
Because no one wants to fish them anymore.
Yeah, indeed. But the weird bit is that Heard Island, McDonald Island, although as you said they're closer to Antarctica than anywhere else, they are an external territory of Australia.
Yeah.
So who is so dumb that they put a 10% tariff, didn't make this tariff on Heard Island exports part of the 10% on Australia?
Yes. What's
the answer to that?
Well, it turns out Trump and his little minions used ChatGPT or its equivalent to produce
ChatGOP, was that what we said last week?
To produce the famous tariffs table that Trump was holding up when he was doing his announcement, and the ChatGPT based the tariff calculations on internet domains, not actual countries. And it turns out Heard Island and the McDonald Islands has its own country code and domain.
Well, can we just talk about that? Sorry, are the penguins sending emails to the toothfish? Are the toothfish and the penguins sexting each other? I don't know what's going on.
Watch out for the teeth.
Yeah.
If you get an email from angryfeet at gmail.hm, you'll know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
But the big story remains the update on Greenland.
We did this last week.
Huge interest in the Vance's trip to Greenland last week.
So just recap the story for us for a sec.
Yeah, so BJ Vance, the vice prostate, has become the front man for Trump's attempted takeover of Greenland.
That's right.
And he explained it this week in a very unusual way, which he said, quote unquote, you can't ignore the president's desires.
That's unusual.
And again, that's why they call him BJ Vance,
Indeed.
not JD.
Indeed.
But that's a cry for help. So we speculated that his job is to serve as the president while leaving his wife
unfulfilled.
So
she was meant to be going last. We talked. She was meant to be going to Greenland. Usha Vance's wife was meant to be going to Greenland on her own. And apparently she was looking forward to it because she was being shown around by a gentleman named Erik the Viking. But then it turned out that he got wind of that. Our intel is he got wind of it, so then he was going on the trip.
Yeah.
So now the question is, well, how did the trip go?
Yeah, invited himself over as sort of the third wheel.
Yeah.
And he wore a Zelensky outfit. Did you see that? It was a
I did not see
Zelensky
that.
knockoff. It was like a black hoodie and a black jeans, like no suit.
I didn't see that.
Didn't criticise himself, strangely.
Amazing.
But he's obviously worked out after the press conference a few weeks back that chicks dig Zelensky more than they dig BJ.
Yeah.
And even the couches like Zelensky, I think.
So how do you... my understanding is it didn't go... even then, in a frozen wasteland where people need to keep warm, it didn't go that well for him.
It was a disaster for BJ. He totally failed to get laid.
Yeah.
I mean, for a start, he couldn't get a room.
No one
literally no one in Greenland wanted to meet him.
Yes, indeed.
No one would let him into their house. They had to stay on the space base for the whole 3 hours he was there.
Yeah.
And then, in fact, it was so desperate when he came back to the US, he had to find some other form of release. And literally, the White House sent this tweet. Literally. Again, we make some stuff up on this show, but I'm not making this up. It's a shot of Vance with a submachine gun.
Yes.
Or an AR-15, whatever. And the White House tweet says, just the Vice President of the United States sending some freedom seeds downrange. Doesn't get more American than that.
What in fuck's name is a freedom seed? Is that what I think it is?
Freedom seeds. They mean bullets.
Yeah, but it sounds like something else, doesn't it?
I'm not sure I've ever seen. But I guess, JD, you just put your right hand on the trigger and squeeze.
Yeah, so BJ had a terrible time in Greenland, but Usha apparently had a good time.
Well, she had a very, very satisfying visit indeed.
So nobody wanted to meet with BJ, but she apparently had a great cultural experience.
It was an immersive cultural experience.
Yeah, she met the entire men's ice hockey team. Then apparently she met the whole women's, like what women's team did she meet?
Ice caving, I heard, yeah.
Ice caving
I didn't even know that was a thing, but hey, Greenland.
Whatever, listen, no judgments. And then there was apparently a mixed team get-together in a hot tub.
Into the icy water, into the sauna, into the hot tub, back again.
It's very essential.
Very essential.
But hang on, but the big love story we were talking about with Erik the Viking, where was he?
Where was he in all this? I'd say he was deep in the Arctic Circle at all times.
So she was nervous. Apparently, the story I heard is that she was nervous about experiencing the Arctic Circle, but, in the right environment, she found it very pleasurable.
He was a veteran.
Of the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, no doubt. shot plenty of freedom seeds down range.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We're going to get... Good Lord.
This week on Instant Experts, it's the US v China as President Trump and President Xi headline WrestleMania.
Xi, maybe the beauty or the beast.
Maybe the famine or the feast.
Meeting each day into a heaven or hell.
Maybe a treasure or the price I have to pay.
I'm guessing the price. I guess it is actually a price Trump will have to pay.
I reckon you're right. Anyway, enough of the Charles Aznavour impersonations.
Yeah.
The US and China have just gone ballistic. Even after last week's episode, Trump jacked up the tariffs on China again, and China, of course, responded. So now we've gone from 10% tariffs on China to 145% in 2 months.
And in fact, in some cases, it's what? It's even more, isn't it?
Depending on the category of goods, it can be up to 245%.
But it's a one-sided tantrum. Like, tell them the story.
Yeah, that's right. So Trump said 145%, and China needs to call us if they want to make a deal.
It was like an 11-year-old, like a 12-year-old boy or girl on a Friday night. Like, it was... Trump's position was, I want China... He sent a word to China diplomatically through back channels that he wanted China to call America to say they wanted a call, which America would then make. China did nothing.
China did nothing. I mean, Trump's been there for 100 days and China's been there for 5,000 years. And they got time,
And
man.
just quietly, I know Trump is not facing any more elections, but this guy has never faced an election. He doesn't give a fuck.
And on principle, they're going to win this one. So, of course, Xi hasn't called.
Yeah.
And what did Trump do?
He reacted like a hell hath no fury.
Like a teenage girl scorned on a Saturday night.
Yeah, Chad never called me again.
When Chad didn't call.
To which Chad said, I never called you in the first place.
That's right. You can't break up with me because we never went out.
We never went out.
So those 145% tariffs are definitely on not a negotiating tactic, permanent feature of the American economic landscape.
In some cases, 245%.
Yeah, footnote asterisk, trademark, unless it is an iPhone or a computer or another electronic good that gets made in China that we like to buy in America.
Yeah.
Everyone got very upset by the idea of $2,000 iPhones, and so they've taken the tariffs off.
Yeah. So now, after all that, at the conclusion to the one-sided tantrum is that Trump has backed down.
Except he hasn't backed down, according to him, because now he's asserting that just because I've taken the 145% off iPhones and computers, doesn't mean I'm backing down. It means I'm inventing a whole new category of tariffs for iPhones and computers.
Gotcha. That makes absolutely no sense.
Well, he's like the Fonz. He can't admit that he was wrong.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Fonz. The Happy Days.
Fonz could never say sorry or couldn't admit he was wrong.
Either, but there was a famous episode where he said, I was wrong. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And he couldn't say I was wrong.
Anyway, that's Trumpy. So he's claiming, he said, nobody is, and I quote from his tweet, nobody is getting off the hook for the unfair trade balances and non-monetary tariff barriers, especially not China, which by far treats us the worst ever. There was no tariff exception announced on Friday. These products are subject to the existing 20% fentanyl tariffs.
Of course.
And they are just moving to a different tariff bucket, bucket which he just invented and hasn't specified the tariffs for.
Yeah.
And he goes on and on for about an hour.
The fake news media knows this but refuses to report it. That's because you just made it up. It's lunatic.
And Honky, last week you said Trump's like granddad in the nursing home. And I feel like he never quite got over the war.
He's like the granddad who fought the Japanese, never got over it. He's talking about the Japs again.
Yeah, he's just getting mad at the chinks. And of course, the irony of it all is that now that smartphones and computers and other electronics are exempt from the tariffs, other than the 20%, it's now cheaper to import the whole laptop.
Of course.
Then assemble it in the US from imported components.
So it's almost like the system that existed before Trump did any of this was working quite well.
It's an absolute shit show.
And in the meantime, by the way, what's Xi done, President Xi? Nothing.
Nothing.
Not a word, not a phone call, nothing.
No, just stone cold. So it's basically like the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, the one where the local tough gets out the sword
and he's doing all the shit.
He does all the special moves, and then Indiana Jones gets out the 6-shooter.
and just shoots him dead.
Puts him away.
That's Xi to a T. Totally true.
We spent a lot of time on Muskie's tangled love life last week.
We did.
And wife number 2, or is that Roman 11? The pop singer Grimes.
Yeah.
She managed to send a tweet during the week saying, please respond about our child's medical crisis. I'm not making this up. We sometimes make things up on this show.
This is a tweet.
Not making the Grime said, please respond about our child's medical crisis. I'm sorry to do this publicly, but it is no longer acceptable to ignore this situation. This requires immediate attention.
Jesus Christ.
And this is addressed to Musk. If you don't want to talk to me, can you please designate or hire someone who can so that we can move forward on solving this? This is urgent, Elon.
Do you know what he replied to this? He replied with the words, whoa.
No, I think that was the new child.
Oh, the new child.
That was the new child.
Yeah, right.
That was wife number 4. This is number 2.
Oh, I apologise.
But they both have to communicate with Musk through Twitter.
Yeah, what a quality guy.
And even then he hadn't replied, although 751,000 people have viewed it and 147 other people have kindly replied to this message.
But another thing, he spoke of X, has appeared this week in relation to Grimes.
Yes.
So just talk us through this.
Well, I hope we're a bastion of high-quality journalism, so
yeah.
much so that we're in demand by the White House. So I don't want you to be spreading any vicious, sordid and absolutely delicious rumours.
Unless they're really good. Unless they're really good.
All right, hit me.
So the story goes, according to Grimes, seems to say, the story goes that people have attributed to Grimes a story that the reason that he's had so many of these 107 kids he's had by IVF is that he had a botched penis implant. It was a botched job.
And do you believe that?
No, I think that what I heard, our mail, we looked into this. We spoke to the clinic that performed the operation. We looked into this. This was good reporting by us.
This is a reputable implantation organisation.
Yeah, Dongs are us. And the implant went perfectly. The problem was he just damaged it through ordinary wear and tear. Because he fucking jammed it in the arse of everyone he's ever worked with, every investor, every employee. And if you fuck over enough people in the butt with your implant, at some point it's going to go down, right?
Well, certainly there are plenty of people around the world, not limited to the US federal government and the US stock market, the NASDAQ, who are feeling it.
Feeling the botched implant in the butt.
Indeed. Well, it couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. But what caught your eye this week?
Well, as you said, I mean, it is WrestleMania week. There are more serious stories around, but I thought we have to start with this one. We have talked before about Linda McMahon.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, a friend of the show, co-founder, former CEO of WWE, becoming the Secretary of Education. Her only qualification for that was literally having run a wrestling company.
And she might have gone to school, although even that's not clear. She's never worked in education, knows nothing about it.
Knows nothing about it. So clearly,
what could possibly go wrong?
Nothing could go wrong. So anyway, during this week, she was talking about education innovation, her vision for education innovation. She meant to be talking about using AI in the classroom, but because she has no fucking idea what she's doing, she called AI something else, as you'll hear in this clip.
Letter or report that I heard this morning, I wish I could remember the source, but that there is a school system that's going to start making sure that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year starting, that far down in the grades. And that's a wonderful thing. Kids are sponges. They just absorb everything. And so it wasn't all that long ago that we're going to have internet in our schools. Woo! Now, okay, let's see A1 and how can that be helpful?
That is unbelievable. I mean, that is so incompetent. And she kept saying it A1 over and over again.
Nobody checked. She didn't think to double check, was it A1 or AI? Does anyone ask her to rehearse the speech, run through the note? No, just whatever words are in front of me, I'm going to pronounce them however I randomly think, and what could possibly go wrong?
Forget artificial intelligence. How about some actual intelligence?
Well, funny you say this, because Linda did, unlike the rest of the McMahon family, she didn't have much on-screen time, hasn't had much on-screen time in WWE. But I do recall now there was a storyline where she was catatonic, I think, on a stretcher or in a wheelchair with a brain injury.
Right.
And
I thought wrestling was fake.
Well, so did I, but you've heard what you've heard, right? I finally, for the first time, understand the concern in sport about CTE. I get it now.
She got it bad.
She got it bad, baby. Musk is having a tantrum because, he's now been effectively ousted, having wasted $300 million on Trump and having blown himself away with that failed Wisconsin judicial bid.
Yes.
He's now sort of screwed himself.
He's had a bit of a mixed week
He's had a bad week, yeah.
He had some good things. He got a $6 billion contract from the US government for SpaceX, his rocket company.
Yeah, funny. It wasn't affected by those Doge cuts.
No, it escaped the Doge cuts.
Amazing.
Yeah. But he then decided to play video games to test out Starlink on his private jet, and that this is true. And then he therefore came into contact with a bunch of adolescent gamers.
Yeah,
who
it's pretty funny.
Wasted absolutely no time.
Oh, the
trolling
comments.
the shit out of him. So, comments included, Honky, you have no real friends and will die alone.
What was the other one?
You ruined the country, just like you ruined all your marriages.
Yeah, but that wasn't even the best one.
And then another gamer posted repeatedly, I am your lost son. Look at me, Father Elon.
And he eventually just quit, didn't Elon? He had a tantrum and left.
He got killed and quit. And said,
Yeah.
He said, ironically, he said, I've dropped out, given he was testing Starlink.
He sure has, in all possible ways. Immigration thing's also not going that well. They've only had one win, a very unusual win this week.
Right.
Have you been following the Parrot story?
I have not.
So there's a nice little old lady, American lady, who was going on holidays to Puerto Rico. And here the story starts to get weird straight away. She was taking with her emotional support parrot.
Honky, are you making this up?
I'm not making
again?
this up. We do make some shit up on this. This is true. I don't know why. She was flying Frontier Airlines. She's getting back on the plane from Puerto Rico to go back to America. And they say, we're so sorry. We've made a terrible mistake.
Right.
You can't bring the parrot. And she goes, oh, because I can't bring an emotional support bird? And they went, no, you can, but a parrot is not an approved emotional support bird. So she says, well, what am I meant to do? And they go, you're going to have to leave the parrot. She goes, well, I can't leave the parrot. What's going to happen to the parrot? And they said, well, then you're going to have to miss the flight. So she missed the flight, and this poor little old lady is now stuck in Puerto Rico with the parrot.
Right. This is a true story.
It's true story. They won't let the parrot back in America.
Right. Was the parrot Venezuelan?
Or like, what else could it be?
A hairdresser.
Or a hairdresser, yeah. No. I think the thing was the parrot. It's an intriguing question. The parrot, I think, had the sort of a plumage of feathers that were mistaken for membership of Tren de Aragua, the gang.
Right.
So I think they've now been both.
It's a gang parrot.
Gang parrot. They've now been
the
both.
Notorious Venezuelan gang parrot.
Well, everyone notorious. And it's now been, the little old lady and the parrot have now both been sent to prison. They've both been sent to prison in El Salvador. So the parrot's now doing time.
The streets aren't safe. Now the skies.
Yeah, the parrot's doing time in an all-male mega jail cell.
Is it a parrot prison? Or
No, it's a human prison. The parrot's now doing time in an all-male mega cell. And this could be the first new inmate in that prison for years that no one wants a blowjob from.
Well, it does have a beak.
Yeah.
And they're probably worried it might talk.
Yeah. Raphael. Oh, Raphael. Oh, I've seen your parrot.
I think we might have reached a new low. Not easy on this show, but I think we've done it.
We've done parrot impersonation.
Now, more entertainment news, and I'm looking at
Yes.
you, Honk. Hamilton has cancelled a season at the Kennedy Center to protest Trump taking over as chairman.
This is the most successful musical ever. First one that ever grossed $1 billion, won the Pulitzer, still running all over the world.
The Taylor Swift musical is widely regarded as a masterpiece.
And Trump, by the way, they've quit.
And is Trump concerned, or is he?
He doesn't give a fuck. In fact, you looked into this because you're just so good at this stuff.
Yeah.
That you told me that he's already commissioned a rival musical that's opening soon about his favourite president.
And of course, that is about himself. It's Trump the musical.
And Trump the musical, but it's meant to be an original show. But I'm sorry, I've just got to pause to say the way your sources are impeccable. Henry managed to slip me some lyrics from the opening number of the show, which I've got in front of me as we speak.
So it's Hamilton knockoff.
It's meant to be an original musical. No, it's not meant to be. But I've got to say, to your point, it has a very eerily familiar Hamilton ring to it, especially the opening number. And if I was Hamilton's lawyers, after I hear this, I'd be suing.
All right.
So I've got it in front of me. Well, the show is like a spoken word rap thing. So shall I try give it a go?
Yes.
But I'll try and do it like the way they do it. Okay?
Here I am now.
Here we
Entertain
go.
me.
Okay. So I think it goes like this. I'm going to give it a go. Okay, here we go. How does a bastard, awful son of a cunt who's a slumlord dropped in the middle of a Manhattan street by his Caribbean nanny who could see a real no-hoper grow up to be a prick and pussy groper? The no-dollar earning muppet and Russian puppet, though a vile viper, he never paid piper, dodged a live sniper, and if he smelled riper since 50, it's because he always has to wear an adult diaper. Well, the word is around. We say, this guy is insane, man. He run for president twice, even though he failed a brain scan. He got no reputation, and he'll gargle balls for fame. And the world's got to know his name. What's your name, man? And then it goes, Donald Trump the simpleton. My name is Donald Trump the simpleton, and there's a million scams I haven't pulled. But just you wait, just you wait. I think that's it. Is that it? Have I done it justice?
Oh, bravo, Honky, bravo.
I hope I've done it right because I'm reading the first,
I can assure our listeners that I did not slip those lyrics to the
That's not true. Don't be so modest.
That was a masterpiece. Congratulations. Well
No.
done.
Thank you for getting them to me.
Donald Trump the simpleton.
Sport quickly.
Yes.
Now, Honky, Easter's a huge week and weekend of sport in Australia. What are you looking forward to? Is it the Easter footy at the G?
The AFL at the Melbourne Cricket Ground? No, not
it,
that.
Rory McIlroy's Masters celebrations back in Ireland as the life expectancy of Guinness drops to 0.
No, not that.
No. Is it the West Tigers?
Oh, our favourite football team, the world's most shit football team. Yeah,
winning a game and then having a public war with their star 5/8
star player.
Yeah.
Only the Tigers could do that, right?
Yeah.
In the same week.
Yeah,
No, none of those things.
No, is it the Stall Gift?
What is the Stall gift?
Stall Gift is Australia's richest sprint race held.
It's a running race.
Yeah, every Easter Monday in the Victorian country town of Stall.
Yeah.
It's unique for a number of reasons. One, it's been going on for a long time, but two, it's over 120 metres and it's a handicap race.
So you win money. It's a prize.
Yeah, you win like 50 grand. It's
right.
It's a big deal. And they've got the sprint sensation called Gout.
He's an Australian guy of Sudanese background. He's
future Olympic gold medalist.
You bet.
He's racing. And this year, Honk, of course, is the 50th anniversary of the win by the Madagascan steamroller, Jean-Louis Ravel Manensoa.
I thought the Madagascan steamroller was a sex act. Is that like a more romantic sort of rusty trombone?
Honk, you're a fieldback. He was Jean-Louis Ravel Manensoa.
Yeah.
Was was an elite sprinter.
Yeah.
He's one of only 2 male runners ever to win off scratch at the Stall Gift.
I thought
in 100 years, and he's the pride of Madagascar.
I thought he was known as what's some of the other the Pasadena mudslide? Was he the rear admiral? What's some of the other ones? The rusty trombone, the Madagascan steamroller, the schoonercorn. Was he known as the Arabian goggles, or the angry dragon?
Okay, it was the Madagascan.
I think I've got
steamroller.
No, I got more. I got the flaming Amazon. Was he known as the gummy bear? There's also the hot lunch.
God!
There was.
I don't even want to.
The leave-in conditioner. I think my favourite. Was he ever known as the Fumalingas?
Humble apologies to Jean-Louis Ravel Manensoa.
Yeah,
we
take it
50
back.
years ago.
He was one of the great.
Anyway, so
one
you're
of the
looking
great
forward to
Pasadena mudslides of all time.
one final apology because we made more than one mistake.
If you can believe it, we made one more than one
last week, and this one is to Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
So last week we said that our Nicole was from England.
Yeah.
Strictly speaking, Honk said it.
Well, yeah. In fact, I said it. Yeah. In fact, I actually said it.
But I will take the fall because I should have known better. My sister pointed out that Nicole Kidman...
Sister Lee
pointed out that Nicole Kidman was actually born in Hawaii.
So that's nowhere near England.
No,
not even close.
And I should know that because my wife, Mrs. Lee, was also born in Hawaii.
Yeah.
In the same hospital as President Obama, as it turns out.
Yes.
So it's a huge miss by me. And a big hello to our Honolulu listener from last week.
Yeah. So there's obviously got to be the appropriate punishment, I assume, for you.
Right.
In fact, there's appropriate punishment for you for my Nicole Kidman fuck up.
That sounds about
clear?
right.
Yeah. Which means we obviously have to play, like we played last week, we fucked up the Laverne and Shirley thing, so we had to play the theme song.
Yes.
So this week we've got to play a well-known song about Hawaii, surely, to take us out.
What are you thinking? Blue Hawaii?
By Elvis?
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that. No.
Happy Hawaii by ABBA?
I was thinking you were going to say that, and it shows what a brilliant guy you are. It's a fascinating jurisdiction. We talk about the Constitution. It's a constitutional question, which is ABBA re-recorded that song for their Arrival album with a different title, Why Did It Have to Be Me?
Ah, great.
So the question is, if they didn't officially release it originally as a Hawaiian song, does it count as a song you can play to take us out of the episode? I say no.
You say no, we're going to Happy Hawaii.
Yeah.
Why did it have
so
to
what
be
else?
me?
Yeah, what else could it be?
There was that version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow done on ukulele.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you've ever been on hold to a phone company,
done by that
know
big
it.
guy.
The big guy, yeah. He died tragically.
Did he?
His name was...
Israel somebody or other.
Yeah. What's his surname?
I think it was Kamakawiwo'ole.
I think you pronounced that correctly.
Does that mean you're going to play the song?
Absolutely fucking not. There's no way. No. I mean,
right,
look, let me get into this way. This is an interesting story about Hawaii. Of course, it's home a bunch of classic TV series, but none more famous than Magnum P.I.
Of course.
Starring Tom Selleck.
Yes.
Now, everybody, he's on a Blue Bloods, show now, but as a younger man, everybody in the world was smoking hot for him. Yeah. Remember how when we were kids, like dads had a den they went to watch sport when no one bothered them?
Yeah.
But the one exception to that in the week was that mums were allowed to use the den on their own to watch Magnum P.I. I had a friend at school and his dad had to install the mum a shower head in the den for when she watched it. I don't know. And we used to ask why. Why has he got a shower? And she would say, no reason, go watch WWF with your father. Like, it's a great match this week. It's Brutus the Barber Beefcake versus Little Beaver, Meatball, Microman, Mini Psychosis, Shockerito and Hornswoggle in a midget handicap match inside a portable toilet.
Mum really said that?
Yeah, she said that, I'm sure of it. Anyway, every woman on earth was openly masturbating over Tom Selleck, gagging for a night with Tom Selleck.
Steady on, because I got a story about that. My Mrs. Lee's mother.
Yes, Dowager Empress Lee.
She, as a young woman, she was a good-looking woman.
Still a good-looking woman.
Back in the day, and... she was in Hawaii and met Tom Selleck when he was filming Magnum in Hawaii, and they went out on a date.
Wow. What happened?
Well, obviously a lady doesn't tell and a gentleman never tells.
But, this was that year when...
I don't think he's my grandfather, let's put it that way.
Well, except...
Or my father-in-law, I should say.
But there was that season of Magnum. Remember Tom missed the whole back half of the season? There was a season when the sidekick, Higgins, the old English guy, had to drive in the sports car with a wide shirt and had to punch out all the drug dealers. I reckon that was when she went on a date, when Tom was out on a date with the Dowager Empress Lee. Anyway.
I assure you I'm not going to inquire.
No.
So,
well,
anyway.
I might inquire.
That's all we've got time for. Thanks again for your support. Please like, subscribe, and especially share on your WhatsApp groups and Signal groups if you've got them.
Yep.
Especially the top secret ones. We like that. Social media.
Yep.
And follow us on all these social media channels, which I think we now have, Honky.
We do. We will put on our show notes that we've now got, we're on Facebook now, we're on Instagram finally. We've come into the 21st century. We'll put our link tree up so you can see all the places you can, follow us, all the places you can hear the podcast. We'll put all that up. Have you mentioned X? That we're on X?
Instant Experts X.
Yes.
And retweet. And
video. Talk about video.
And get in touch. And we got May Musk on video, so look that up on TikTok.
And on YouTube, that's right.
And off we go. Now, to take us out, Honk, we were going to do George Foreman in the Venus Flytrap.
Yeah, but the problem was normally most of the songs we finish with are normally terrible, and he was too good.
He was pretty good, too good to make the cut. So what have you got for us?
Well, a few weeks ago when we played that notorious, awful thing that AI put together, the song about how Trump was saving Gaza, it was called Trump Gaza, with him and Elon Musk eating hummus and dancing in dollars and so forth. So now another right-wing nutjob has struck again. A, quote, aspiring stand-up comedian has made this country music clip, but this is not stand-up. This is apparently serious. She's done a country song about what a great guy Elon Musk is. Has to be heard to be believed.
And it's not parody, you're saying?
It's not parody, it's for real. It's truly terrifying. We're going to have to leave you with that.
See you next week.
We'll see you next week because, as we always say,
stupid never sleeps.
Stupid never sleeps. We'll see you next week, and here is that song, and we apologise in advance.
He gave us cars that drive so fast, made rockets built to blast. Oh, thank you, Elon Musk. He took over Twitter's reign. He saved free speech for all, eliminating woke pain. SpaceX flies, Tesla self-drive, Starlink beams with laser dreams. He's got a master plan for our lives. Let's occupy Mars. Let's occupy Mars. And making kids to keep mankind alive.
Mr. Foreman, why in the world did you come on
Instant Experts?
The greatest show on earth.
Yeah! That's George Foreman saying that.
That's right.